the mist and fog, there comes a reviewer from Southern Illinois called Randy.
Hello out there in SIGT land and the rest of YouTube. This is Randy with another one of Randy's reviews. And today we have the EAA Witness 10mm. Alright, I bought this gun a while back and I figured I'd review it because I don't see a lot of these out there, but I have to say I'm very impressed with this gun. And there's a couple reasons why I'm very impressed with this gun. Is you're shooting a big, gigantic 10mm round. I guess it's not the most gigantic thing in the world, but when you're talking about like more of your Magnum style weapons, I would put the 10mm up in that class just because it is, you know, a big case. Let's see, I got one right here. All right. So there is the 10mm round. Now we can put that up against a regular 40 and you can see the difference in just case height there. Alright, these are both hollow points, so if I did it like that, it's like which one's the 10mm. But anyways, I mean same what I call barrel diameter in the 40 and the 10mm. Same caliber, but you get that much more powder. You see the cases are almost lined up at the bottom there. So this is a pretty powerful round. The government came out with this round, the FBI, back in '86. I think they had a shootout in Florida where they were going up against these guys. They had their 38 specials and they just weren't putting these guys down, and they're like, we need a much more powerful round. What they didn't do was create a gun that could handle this round very well. So you know, there's a couple of guns that shoot the 10 Glock makes one, and I mean they're very few and far between. In fact, I can't even think of a bunch off the top of my head. But you know, EA has got the gun out, and that's the Witness. So 10mm round, FBI created this round. Later on they found that they couldn't handle it, so they cut it down and created a 40 out of it, which is still a little bit unruly for some people too. But let's get back to the gun, which this review's all about, not the 10mm round, because on its own the 10mm round's pretty baller. But what I like to talk about is this EA Witness. Now the one awesome thing that I'd like to say is this is a very fine weapon, very finely made. You know, the slide and everything is just really smooth, just easy going. Got the mag back here, but the mag, you know, good positive mag release. If you see that, I just hit the button, don't even have to pull. It's this nice positive mag release. And I think, yeah, it's a 14 round magazine. So some of the other things are nice is the adjustable rear sight, which is really nice. I like the fact that guns come with adjustable rear sights, just because that impact is not hitting where you want it to. When you line at the sides, you could be a holdover or a beneath the target, and that's just not the way you shoot. With adjustable sights, we can make that happen, and the Witness came with them. The other thing is like you see here, is it says it all nice scrolled really there, match grade barrel. So this thing is accurate. This thing is all accurate. It's all God's get out, man. I love this weapon. It's just spot on accuracy. But it's pretty much a 1911 style weapon, and you can see that you know, we have a safety here. It's more of an external instead of that kind of machined in internal safety which goes up into the slide. But you have a safety here, and then you've got your slide release right here, which is just a single pin, and that's how you break the gun down, just like a 1911 with that slide release. So that's one thing, if you're a 1911 fan, this EAA Witness is the way to go, especially for a 10 millimeter. I've yet to find a round that I couldn't shoot through it. Of course, 10 millimeters not that prominent everywhere. Everyone's not using it, but it cycles pretty much everything I do it. In fact, I even reload it. I reload it with lead, and I know people have their doubts about lead, but this thing eats it just fine. I have yet to lead the barrel up or anything, and it just never loses accuracy. One of the other things I'd like to talk about is the slide. If you notice, this slide is just really thin right here. Really thin, so it doesn't actually wrap around the weapon. It actually is a smaller slide that rides inside of the rail. So EA is pretty known for that. They have this low slide, which is one of the dings I'd like to give on this, is you just don't have a lot of purchase when you're activating that slide. So you got to use just like the tips of your fingers. That's one of the things I just never liked about it. But because of that slide being so small, is you do not have a lot of that weight traveling back when it cycles that round. So you get a reduced amount of muzzle flip, and you can get back on target pretty quick. But the other thing I like to talk about too is the weight of this weapon. This is a pretty hefty weapon. I don't have a scale around here, otherwise I'd weigh it for you guys, but really hefty weapon. So it can mitigate that recoil quite well. That huge 10 millimeter cartridge, pounding it out. The one other great thing about this is, we'll check it one last time, but the trigger pull is just phenomenal. You can see that's the amount of take up I have. I don't know if you can see that travel, but that's it. It is stopped. And then you can also see there's a little screw back here where you can do the pass travel so that it stops pretty much on target. So we'll pull the trigger, just ever so slight pull. Oh, got safety on. Well, can't be too safe. Check it one more time. Alright, pull the trigger. It's just a nice, crisp, clean break. And you can even take up that over travel with that screw. But, I think I like the trigger pull the way it is. It is just a, single pull. You can't double just like a 1911. You can't keep pulling that and then keep getting that hammer to drop. So you have to cock it back every time. And then also, like a 1911. I don't even know if the 1911 you can put on safety, but this you can put on safety with the hammer up, and it won't pull the hammer back any more than that until you get the safety down. Then it'll pull it down all the way. So the way I like to store it is actually with the hammer down. If I've got it in the safe or something like that, and I've got other weapons out and about, sometimes I'll keep the magazine full, but I won't put one in the magazine. But I keep the hammer down so I can actually rack one in, put it in there. Because if you didn't, you got that hammer down, and you did that, you're not going to be able to activate that slide with that safety up. So there's the safety. Should have been showing you that. But see, safety down, I can activate it. Pull the trigger, safety up, and activate. So that's one of the things. Very good, stout, heavy weapon. Beaver tail's real nice on here. Nicely formed and fit. It's got a really good feel in the hand. My hands fit this gun really well, and I think that's why I like it so much. Not only just the power, but just the ergonomics of it is just phenomenal. Mag release is really nice and big and prominent. Look at that mag release. I mean, that is just awesome. I mean, it's out there. You're not going to be searching for that thing. And that's pretty much what I got to say about the EAA Witness 10 millimeter. I'm going to put some shots in there. I'll show you me firing it against some water jugs and some other things like that, and you can kind of see how the gun works and acts. All right, here we are with the EA Witness 10 millimeter outside in the freezing cold, January, 20 degrees, maybe 19, depending on how long we sit out here. So my daughter holds the camera as I'm going to freeze. So anyways, we got the 10mm witness. Like I said, the low slide on here is going to help mitigate that recoil. So we're going to load it up. These are buffalo bore hollow points, and we're going to shoot some water jugs. All right, we're hot. All right. All right, first shot. See if I can hit it. Pretty badass. All right. Now if you watch, you can see the recoil of this gun while I'm firing it. I'm going to fire at a couple steel plates down range about 30 yards. See if I can hit one. Oh, that was a miss. Man. We hit it that time. So you see the recoil of the gun, you know, as it's coming back. Pretty good. I mean, it's still pretty powerful, but that low slide mitigates it. You're shooting a very powerful cartridge out there, and you know, it's hard to mitigate that, but the EA Witness does a really good job of doing that with that small slide. I'm just going to finish out this magazine and just shoot some miscellaneous targets. And you can watch that slide going back and forth and seeing how well it. So that was the final round of the EA Witness 10mm. That's the range time. Here with the EA Witness 10mm, I got 10 rounds in my 14-round magazine, and these are my own homebrew reloads, just lead rounds. I got these loaded up with blue dot, and we're going to do some rapid shooting on our target down there. You know, we're not that far away. You see the target's unfazed. So we're going to load up our 10 shots. We're going to do rapid succession to see how well I can stay on target with this EA Witness 10mm. Alright, load it up. And that's it. Alright, round's done. We'll go down here and see how well I did. Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pretty good. I held it a little lower than usual, but I seem to mitigate that recoil pretty good. And that's our second round of the 10mm. Alright, so here I'm going to show you the breakdown of the EA Witness 10mm. And it's a pretty simple breakdown. Like a 1911, you have this slide lock right here that you're going to have to pull out. So what I'm going to do is just take a little pressure off. I'm going to take a little wooden handle here and just beat that pin back. Takes a little bit to get the pin back. Alright, take the pressure off, pull the pin out the rest of the way, and this should just slide out. And I do not know why it's not sliding out. What are we doing wrong here? There we go. A little gummy, I guess. So once we got that slid out, you can just rock this pin out with the spring. Put that right there, and then you just rock your barrel straight back out. Unlike the 1911, you don't have that barrel lug nut thing right there, or any of that stuff. Then you got your match grade barrel, and your action's all free and clear to go. Also, like a 1911, you can take the back of this plate off here, get your firing pin out of there. I'm not going to do that right now, but this is pretty much what I consider field stripped. You see I haven't cleaned it since I shot it, but that's pretty much field stripped. So we're not going to go through the whole cleaning process. You can figure out how to clean your own guns. We're just going to put this right back together. Hopefully this will go back together a little bit better. Oh, I remember this now. So you got this pin, and you got to get it lined up with that front part hole, and the spring can kind of get in the way a little bit there. So we look pretty lined up. Just got to figure out, oh, there we go, got it in. You just got to make sure that that is up in that position right there, and you're ready to put it back together. Now, this hole's important here. I don't know if you can see that hole, but that's actually where the pin slides through once you put it in. Remember, this slides inside of the rail. So you can see there's your frame, and you know, here's your slide, and that's going to go right inside of that rail, right like that. So that taking off a lot of that outside weight of that slide. We're going to put it back together. Make sure that hole's nice and lined up. Alright, I can see the hole now. We'll put that pin in there, and this is just a straight push pin that pushes in and slides into place. There we go. We got it back together. So there's the breakdown of the EA Witness 10mm.